Local PC. All right.
Good evening.
Just in time. All right. Got a full house tonight. It's nice.
Was it 5 Beatles or 4?
Five, was it?
5?
Well, I think initially, when they first started, it was 5, and then it ended up basically 4.
4. Okay. So we have all 5.
It's 5:30.
All righty. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Sustainability Commission for the City of Indio. This is our meeting for March the 23rd, 2026, and I call to order the meeting. I will ask our secretary, Ms. Toyota, to do the roll call for our meeting.
Chair Liu,
Present?
Vice Chair Jimenez,
Present.
Commissioner Verdugo,
Present.
Commissioner Chris,
Present.
Commissioner Getka.
Present.
Great, thank you. To start our meeting, I ask everyone to join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Quite something as we, although it's not part of our commission, saying that as we are at a time of almost being at war. So it really adds emphasis to that pledge. So we're on the way, and our next item is public comment for items not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments?
There are no public comments.
Alrighty. And then we move to item number 4, which is the approval of the minutes of the February 23rd, 2026 meeting. Let me ask, we did have some folks, there were 3 of us here last meeting. So for the 3 folks that were here, have you had time to take a look at those minutes? And do you agree, is there any discussion on those minutes before we vote?
I have none.
Okay, all right. Well, do I have a motion and a second to approve those minutes?
I will move to approve the minutes of February 23rd.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. All right, well, with that, the minutes of February 23rd, 2026 are approved. And that, with that, we would move on to item number 5. And I'm just going to say that we have a pretty full agenda, as we always do, with a well-planned meeting by staff. They always provide lots of information. We normally finish at 7. If we get close to the 7 o'clock mark, I'll stop and take a vote and ask what we want to do with the remaining items. But with that, let's go ahead. Our presentation this afternoon is the 4 C's of Sustainability, a holistic approach to sustainability from Visit Greater Palm Springs, and it's Miss Lauren, Brueggemans, who is the Senior Director of Destination Stewardship for Visit Greater Palm Springs. So, Ms. Brueggemann, can you pronounce your name correctly?
Sure, it's Lauren Brueggemans.
Okay,
Yeah,
close
you
enough.
were very close. You're
Very
good.
close. Brueggemans. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks so very much. Welcome. Glad to see you, and we'll let you take it away, and I will ask for questions afterwards. You turn it on first. And then I have it. Everyone else has it, so. All right, please proceed.
Thank you, commissioners, for the time to present about the sustainability programs and projects of Visit Greater Palm Springs. Oops, it's going quite quickly. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Visit Greater Palm Springs, we're the regional destination marketing organization for the Coachella Valley. We cover all 9 cities of the Coachella Valley. We are a government agency. We're a special district governed by a joint powers authority. Our mission is to promote our unique and diverse destination to the world while advancing regional collaboration to improve the quality of life for our residents and partners. As you may know, tourism and hospitality is the #1 economic driver in our region, accounting for 1 in 4 jobs, over 50,000 jobs, a $9.1 billion economic impact to our region. And just to back up a few steps, again, I'm the Senior Director of Destination Stewardship. I'm also the Executive Director of our foundation, which I'll talk about in just a few slides. I'm from Palm Springs. I'm a local. I spent some of my career abroad. I've lived abroad and wanted to come back to serve my community. I've been in this role for almost 4 years. It was a newly created role at the time, which I think really shows an investment on behalf of Visit Greater Palm Springs in sustainability and these other priorities that we are going to chat about tonight. So for us, obviously destination marketing, positioning this beautiful place that we call home as this wondrous place for a visit for both visitors around the world and around the country is our priority. But in the recent years, we've also become stewards and advocates for our region as well. We really prioritize regional collaboration and being a convener. So we also support our partners with those priorities that you see on the side there. So social inclusion, sustainability, accessibility, being supportive of cultural heritage. Again, I mentioned regional collaboration, workforce development, youth engagement, so quite a few priorities there. And more recently, we've added on economic development to our portfolio. As some of you may be aware, we have a Director of Economic Development, Sean Smith, on our team, who is focused on economic diversification and future-proofing our economy and bringing in other industries to ensure that we have a vibrant economy for generations to come. So our approach to sustainability was really, we wanted to embed these values into every facet of our organization. And we also wanted to recognize that sustainability is complex. It's multifaceted. And oftentimes sustainability is thought of as quite narrow. It's just about environment or green and eco. That's incredibly important. But we wanted to embrace a vision of sustainability that took into account these other pieces: sociocultural sustainability, socioeconomic sustainability. We wanted to ensure that culture in our region, again, would thrive for generations to come. And this also aligns with the United Nations World Tourism Organization and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So you can see a quote here: sustainable tourism is tourism that takes into full account the current and future environmental, social, economic impacts. So we wanted to embrace this holistic vision. So I'm going to go through how we activate those 4 C's, which are conservation, community, culture, and commerce, into our work, and the way we share these this inspiration with our hospitality partners, but also with our visitors and our guests, and across the community. So, for example, a way that we can inspire in the conservation space is that we can tell the good stories and the work of people that are doing that work in our community. We can, destination marketing organizations, we're really good at marketing, right? We're really good at telling stories in a compelling way. And again, that's to inspire pro-sustainability behavior in our partners, but also to position us as a community that cares about sustainability, because we want to preserve and protect the reasons we all love living here and the reasons why visitors love coming here. So some of the ways we've done that is by being part of a global competition, like the Green Destinations global competition, where we were, for 2 years in a row, in 2023 and 2024, we were picked as a top 100 sustainability story. We had to pass a rigorous 30-point sustainability criteria check, which again ran the gamut of sociocultural, economic, and environmental factors just to even submit a story. And our beautiful home was featured 2 times, 2 years in a row through Green Destinations. Other ways we've also told the story, you can see a familiar face there in his other role at Friends of the Desert Mountains, is by creating a documentary piece that told the work of Friends of the Desert Mountains, which has done so much good work to preserve and conserve local spaces, beautiful natural spaces in our community. They also do such great work to educate youth in our community and give these safe, guided walks for tourists and visitors in our community. And we also featured the great work of the Living Desert Zoo and Garden. So again, we were able to put a spotlight on these great community organizations through that storytelling. Another way we do that, again, is by featuring on our social media platforms great sustainability stories, like ones that we've seen at La Quinta Resort and Agua Caliente Resort in Rancho Mirage, which have this fantastic Orca food waste disposal system. So they're able to take all their food scraps on site and they convert that into organic waste and environmentally safe water, which that they can reuse as gray water on the properties. So when we're telling that story, other hotels, other hospitality partners are getting some ideas of what's possible in our community. We also have fantastic relationships with local farms, and we tell the story of that farm-to-table movement, because farm-to-table is not just, as you know, about eating healthy or organic. It's telling the story that when we support local farms, we're supporting our neighbor. We're supporting our friends to do what they do best. And our food is traveling a shorter distance to our plate. And our visitors want to hear those stories, because we also have data and research that shows that our visitors want to visit places that align with their values. They want to go to places where they know they'll be safe, they'll be welcomed, where sustainability is important and it's a priority. We have a great partnership with an organization called Kind Traveler, and what they do is they have a program where they have hotels are able to activate a program whereby visitors give a percentage of their stay, or a few dollars of their stay goes to these organizations. We've picked two nonprofit partners, Friends of the Desert Mountains and the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert. Since 2023, this program has raised over $45,000, and that has translated into tangible impact for both of these nonprofits. So that's a way for visitors to see their dollars impacting the communities they're staying in. And Kind Traveler does a great job of helping us with that. Next, we're moving on to our community pillar. And that's really about building strong connections in our community. We want to ensure tourism is felt positively in all of our communities, and that people feel that they can take part in tourism and that it uplifts and betters their lives. And this is where a lot of the work of our foundation comes into play. So I'll go over some of the programs of the foundation, but our goals really, when it comes to youth engagement and workforce development, are the ones you see here. We want to strengthen the pipeline between education and industry. We want to encourage young people to explore career pathways, and we want to provide them with work experience. We want to provide training opportunities for those that are already in the industry to feel that they can grow and develop and become leaders. We want to grow our leaders locally. Our vision is that those top-level leadership positions in every industry has someone from the Coachella Valley, someone who was born here, grown here, raised here, can be the leader in our community. Again, that's for that sustainable future generation and workforce. Some of the ways we do that are by piloting events like Student Hospitality Day. We're having the second day of this, April 14th. But we brought together 100 high school sophomores last year with 30 industry partners. And these young people from across the school districts, all 3 school districts represented, were able to experience a mini conference and experience the different pathways in our industry. And not just the ones that are typically thought of as, those in food and beverage or in operations, but those in sales, events, marketing, social media, human resources, finance, administration, because all of those are pathways in hospitality and tourism. We also have a fantastic summer leadership program. We're going into year 3 of that program. Again, representation from all 3 school districts. Last year, we had 10 students. We're going to go up to 12 or 14 this next year. It's a 4-week summer leadership program. It's a deep dive into our industry. We're teaching employability skills. We're teaching leadership skills, and then we're taking them on a fun tour of the Coachella Valley because there's so much to see and do here, and oftentimes as a local, you don't get an opportunity to experience those moments. So it's really about building pride in the Coachella Valley, building pride in being from this beautiful place. We also give out college scholarships. We've been doing this for a number of years. We give out about $35,000 to $45,000 a year to students interested in hospitality and tourism careers. We have fantastic relationships with College of the Desert, CSUSB, and One Future Coachella Valley, who administrates our scholarship program. So we're extremely excited to continue this program. We also provide travel abroad scholarships to both COD and CSUSB. They have great programs to Japan and Italy that can uplift hospitality students. We care for our workforce, I mentioned that, so we have scholarships from our foundation through a partnership with College of the Desert's PACE program for leadership training. We have Leadership Institute Levels 1 and Level 2, the Essential Leaders and the Visionary Leaders. So again, we really want to provide that training on a pipeline for young people. We're starting them in high school, going through college, making sure they get scholarships, and then once they're in the workforce, we want to support them in that journey. That Visionary Leaders, that higher level leadership course is for directors. So again, it's really that full spectrum of training, and we also convene a quarterly Workforce Readiness Committee meeting. So, again, impacting our local community, it's about buying local, it's about supporting small businesses, as Caravanserai is also an SBDC. On the culture and accessibility part here, this is again about really sustaining the richness of the culture here and making sure that we're a welcoming and inclusive place for all to access our destinations. Just to give some example here is that we work with local tribes in our community to ensure that we're telling the stories that they want us to tell, and we're providing a spotlight that they want us to provide. Again, folks are around the world, we've seen it in our data and research. That is one of the most interesting things they find about our community is our rich indigenous culture and heritage here. So we tell stories of the community here. We also ensure that our local LGBTQ+ community is represented in its entirety. It's intersectional, it's diverse. There's a recognition, again, of the multitudes that each of us has. And again, we really want to ensure that part of the message is you're welcome here, you're safe here. We're a community that is welcoming to all. Another way we do this is, I'm not sure if you're aware, we're a certified autism destination. So we've been spearheading a program with a company called IBCCES to become a certified autism destination. All of the organizations that you see on this slide their staff have gone through a training program, at least 80% of them, and they've become certified autism centers. What this does for us, it positions us as a place that's welcoming, inclusive, has empathy for folks that are traveling with young people on the spectrum, but it's also a signal to our community for families that have young people on the spectrum that we care about them and that we as a community want to show more empathy to them as well. We have a great partnership with an organization called Wield the World on the accessibility front. We've worked with them to map almost 30 properties across the Coachella Valley with their accessibility assets. And that's really about showcasing information for folks that are wheelchair users. Where are the places that can give them some information about where they can stay? So it's really about giving them all the choices and all the information they need and positioning us as a place where accessibility is really critical. On the commerce side, this is really, again, about supporting the professional development of our teams, our staff. I give this presentation to our workforce. I give this presentation to meeting planners. I give this presentation to sales managers in our community. And this next section is really about that. It's about positioning us as a sustainable place and a community that cares about these values. So we encourage folks to perhaps become certified in sustainability or sustainability, what the city of Indio is doing with regards to sustainability. How can we tell your sustainability story? And we're meeting with each of the cities to do so. We're 5 cities down, 4 to go. And finally, we really just want to be seen as your partner and your resource in this work. It takes all of us together as a community, as the Coachella Valley, to really see change. And again, I'm so grateful for your time and very open to your questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much. That's an inspiring presentation to our ears. So with that, I will open it up for questions to the commissioners. I will start with Commissioner Verdugo. Any questions with you?
My question would be in reference to the high school students. How are they informed or how do they find out about this program?
Sure. So we have we've built relationships with the directors of CTE, or Career Technical Education, or College and Career Readiness at each of the school districts, and that was facilitated by One Future Coachella Valley. And that's how we kind of filter our communication, is through them, and then they're able to access students. But you know, it's really being in spaces together that One Future has created. We have a business engagement committee, and we get together quarterly, and we're, you know, it's folks from industry, folks from education, all together in one room, one Zoom room, one space, talking about the needs of our young people.
Do you limit the amount of students that can participate?
It just depends on different events, like Student Hospitality Day. The capacity for that happens to be 120. We hope to grow that. For that leadership program, it's very intensive. So we're, you know, kind of capped at about 12 or 14. But, you know, we have an annual internship program at Visit Greater Palm Springs, where we have 2 college students come through. We speak to students all the time. We have an destination ambassador program. That's a 2-hour course that we give in person or online, and we've been putting students through that course as well. So there's lots of ways for students to engage, and we're hoping to increase our impact all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Jimenez?
No questions for me at this time, thank you.
righty.
Very nice presentation.
All righty, thank you. Commissioner Chris?
Thank you for the presentation. First of all, you're an excellent representative. I appreciate that. My question is on the tails of Commissioner Verdugo. I've often felt that we have such great talent here in the Coachella Valley, and they go off to college and then they take those talents elsewhere. What exactly, if anything, are we doing to get the attention of local talent and encourage them to stay local?
Absolutely. I do, again, go back to those collaborative spaces that we're in, like the ones with One Future, or that also include our higher ed partners like CSUSB, like COD, and all the K through 12 school districts. And we're constantly grappling with this issue. And I really think it comes down to helping young people find pride in being from the Coachella Valley, showcasing the opportunities for them here, because they do exist. And I think giving them those tangible moments to actually experience work in our community, that's really critical, because I think once they can see themselves here, or they can also meet folks to be inspired by, it starts to become more tenable to stay here. And I totally understand, I'm from here, I left, I came back. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing to get that either global or national experience somewhere else. But I think the message has to be, we're ready for you when you come back. You can have a great future here when you come back. Our community is thriving. You can be a leader here. I think if students hear those messages often enough and in a compelling way, they start to believe it.
Thank you for your time. I know it's valuable.
Thanks so much. Commissioner Getka.
Thank you. Sure. No, so we have two organizations really. So the Visit Greater Palm Springs, we're a special district. We have a representative from each of the city councils of the 9 cities, plus a seat for the county as well, for Riverside County. So they're a joint powers authority. But then a lot of our workforce development and youth engagement work goes under our foundation, and that is a 501c3 registered nonprofit.
And so you're funded primarily by grant monies and donations? Is that how it works?
Donations, grants, et cetera. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're always trying to grow that as well.
And are you affiliated with the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce at all?
We certainly work with them, but they're a separate organization that really just focuses on uplifting Palm Springs businesses. Visit Greater Palm Springs is really a regional organization that covers all 9 cities.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you.
I appreciate your time. I wish you a wonderful meeting, and please know that we're here for anything that you need.
One final question. As a follow-up, for folks wanting to contact you, would they just go to your website?
They can find me on the website. I can give you my email right now.
Okay.
It's
No, I'm just
Lauren.
saying for the community at large. Is
I'm
it-
happy for anyone to have it.
Yeah.
But certainly, our website is a great place to go for that. My email address is laurenb, LAURENB, @visitgreaterps.com. I probably should have put that in the slide.
That's okay, just
But, yeah.
so that, because we never have enough time to ask every question.
Of course.
Things will come up later. So thank you so very much for taking
Absolutely.
the time to come down.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One last question, sorry.
Please, yes. In true sustainability fashion, I do not. However, I do have a digital card, and I'm happy to share that as well. I would love to be, sort of in contact with all of you, so please. Will you be able to send through my? Absolutely. Okay, great. Thank
you very much.
Have a good meeting.
So very much. All righty. Our next item on the agenda is number 6, which is a discussion item. We have 6.1 and 6.2 that are discussion items. I'm assuming that we do not have any members of the public online with any questions on those items? Would that be correct?
That is correct.
All righty. Well, let's go ahead. Is there a presentation on 6.1 or something? All righty. Please go ahead, whoever is presenting.
Okay, the commission has asked that staff bring back some information on data centers, and this is our first kind of discussion about this. I'm going to go through just a very quick background, talk about the current status of things, talk more locally about what's happening, and then talk about some next steps. So in the United States, there's over 5,000 data centers, and it's more than in any other country. The main hub has been for many years in Northern Virginia. Specifically, you can point to Loudoun County, Virginia. They have over 200 data centers there. Northern Virginia in total has about 500. And they've been the main hub for data centers in the United States, although California does have a pretty sizable amount in Southern California and Silicon Valley. And they basically ruled the data center, bringing in data centers to their area until about 2023, when Georgia took over the place to put a data center. So there's more data centers now going into Georgia than there have been going into Loudoun or Northern Virginia since about 2023. And that was no mistake. It wasn't an accident that that happened. Georgia has, and a lot of other places as well, offer tax incentives or some kind of incentives and tax breaks to bring data centers to their area. In Loudoun County, about 38% of the tax revenue comes from those data centers. So the data centers have been here for a while. In Loudoun County, they date back to the 1990s, and they've been quietly been growing and growing until recently with the increased need for data in general and AI. There's been a huge boom for the need for these data centers, for the wanting to place them in different areas. UC Berkeley finished a study on energy use by these data centers. And one of the things that they found is that until mid-2010, the data centers really didn't, although they use a huge amount of energy, there was no real spike in energy use up until that point in time. And they attribute that to the machinery becoming more efficient electricity usage in general, building efficiency. So you really didn't see that spike until about 2017, according to this report, is when it really spiked up and you saw energy use, real energy use, or data centers really pulling energy off the grid. And then in 2014 to 2023, their use literally tripled. And with the consistent need and this boom in data and AI, their forecasts for what these data centers are going to use in the future are staggering. So that has led to a huge shift in public opinion on data centers. And there is a lot of pushback from New Jersey to California. In New Brunswick, New Jersey, hundreds of people showed up in January at a city council meeting, and they pulled a data center that they were going to approve off and completely cancel it. In Monterey Park, they not only got a moratorium on the data center, but the city council also agreed to put on the ballot an outright ban on data centers. And the people will vote on that sometime in June, I think on June 2nd. And there's literally a website where you can track some of the opposition to data centers at this point. And a lot of it really comes down to the new energy use, the water consumption. Noise has been an issue in the past. So out of all of this, the American Planning Association has been they've been very active since the beginning with data centers, really. They have publications that go back years and years and years, and they've been putting out some information on how to incorporate this growth into cities and counties in a positive way. And then on top of that, the climate mayors have just recently put out a resource for other mayors when they're considering data centers, which as they're popping up everywhere, everyone knows it's just a matter of time, but how to consider bringing them in a way, again, that's beneficial. And they list a lot of different either ordinances or what to do about noise options and things like that. But it's very new. So there's a lot of information about kind of the issues, but not a whole lot of examples. And from what I've seen, really, if you're a county or a city that's talking about how to bring in data centers or how to do this in a way that's positive, then you're really pretty much at the forefront of it. There's just not a whole lot of other ordinances or rules out there, but I think it's worth mentioning that Atlanta, Georgia is one of them. So it's not that they're not, still friendly to data centers, but even at this point, they have put in or passed an ordinance that limits where they can go and put some restrictions on the data centers that are coming there. So bringing this locally, this is also a super changing environment. And the Brian Halverson, the planning director, showed me this morning. It literally came out this morning. It is the data center that they are planning for Imperial Valley, 950,000 square foot data center that they are considering putting out in Imperial County now. So for everything that I've looked into, this is a list of things that could or should be considered when we're talking about data centers coming into where we are. I would like to go through a lot of these and then start a discussion after that on how to move forward. But just to go over them, zoning is one of the things that almost all of the ordinances, all the examples we'll talk about, the climate mayors, is one of the things that nobody was really ready for in this data center boom was that they don't have a zoning code that's specific to them. So almost all of these define what a data center is and give them their own zoning code, and then put them and look at, decide where they can go, and considering a lot of other things. So zoning is a really important one. It's not something that we would do in this commission, but it is something you could recommend, say, to the planning. Energy and water are certainly considerations. They take a massive amount of energy and use a lot of water. You might want to consider them together, because from what I understand, there are better technologies now for using a lot less water to cool a data center, but they take a lot more energy. Tax revenue. This is the tax revenue from the 950,000 square foot facility that they are looking at in Imperial County. According to the developers, they predict it will generate $28.75 million in annual property tax revenue for schools, fire
I'm sorry, what was
departments,
the square
things like
footage on
that.
that?
What's that?
What was the square
950,000.
footage on that?
950,000. So tax revenue and value and resident benefit they're very much the same thing. I don't see a lot of other necessarily benefits from them. I mean, the tax revenue is certainly, that's a substantial amount. You don't need to necessarily worry about congestion and roads, mostly because these data centers don't bring in a lot of jobs, but it is a steady revenue. Air quality, of course, we live in the worst air quality, and certainly in the state. The data center that was going to go in at Monterey Park, that had almost 12 diesel generators as part of that project to use as backup energy. So that's significant air quality consideration there. Noise goes back a long way. And from what I can see in most of the ordinances, it's looked at from what they have written in for noise now, is that a company has to test the ambient noise before they build anything. And then from there, there's only a certain amount of increase that they'll allow in the ordinance for a data center. Climate goals, of course, these are massive energy, massive water users. There's a lot of climate issues that can be looked at and should be mitigated. There's community concerns. We've talked about that. That is growing. Fire suppression, we brought that up here in this commission. I haven't seen anything so far in the example ordinances that I've looked at, but that is something to consider. And of course, there's consumer energy rates. IID did their public, they did a public workshop on data centers, and one of the slides that they talked about was that they are actually working with consultants now on rate study experts, talking about ratepayer protections, trying to figure out how to, if a data center comes on board in the area, that they're looking at that and they're working with professionals or consultants to mitigate that as well. I don't know how connected a city can be to it. But it would mean, obviously, talking a lot with IID about how their plans, what their plans are, to make sure there are some protections. We here in Indio are unique because we do have the Indio Water Authority. So any of those things, looking into water resources and use and cost, we can do all of that in-house. And then last, really, I'm going to talk about the decommissioning guarantees. There's a couple articles I read where data centers, the boom, a good part of this boom could be happening because the AI race is not won. In other words, there's a lot of people trying to get ahead in AI and be the winner of this race. And if it ends up being like one or two companies can move forward and literally win, then what happens to all these data centers that are owned by these other companies, hundreds, thousands? Then what happens with them? So decommissioning guarantees are something, a couple examples of those are to have like a backup plan, alternative use plans for the facilities, or there's also an example where a city basically had the company get a bond for like 100 or 150% of what the cost would be to decommission the actual building. So there's a lot to talk about. This is our first jump into this, so it's not necessarily to make a motion or take action, but I wanted to present this to you so that you can have a discussion on how you might consider moving forward. And it can be anything from, you just want more information, you want me to start writing this down more report-like so that, we have that to consider. You are a body that does policy recommendations to the city council, so you can go as far as that if you like. So this is the information we have tonight, and I'm happy to take some questions and listen to direction or other thoughts.
Sarah, I have a question. Do we have data centers being proposed right now at the city?
In the city of Indio, not that I know. As far as I know, we do not.
Okay, that's very lucky. Coachella, I think we have one. So, that is being proposed, and it's like, oh my gosh. But anyway.
On a procedural matter, before we sort of start the discussion, you had mentioned last meeting, I think, or the time before, possibly, we mentioned two procedural things. One was adding it to our work plan, and the other one you mentioned, but I don't know if it's required, is taking it back to city council to find out if they want us to work on this. Do you have any comments on those two procedural items?
I don't. I have not taken this back to city council yet, or taken that that far.
Okay.
Am working on that. It takes a little bit of time, but yes, they will be one thing because the city council will approve the addition to the sustainability plan. So it will be one action on my part.
Okay, alrighty, that's just administrative. Since Commissioner Getka raised this issue, I'm going to open the questioning or comments with Commissioner Getka. Do you want to go first, please?
Thank you, Chairman, Chair Lady. This is a great presentation, by the way. I learned quite a bit just in a few minutes. And so it's an evolving topic. It's a topic of the day. I just want to clarify, I think you said, going back to the Northern Virginia, the revenue had increased 38%, and I'm not sure what that's regards to.
Not increased. The tax revenue going into Loudoun County, about 38% of that comes from the data centers.
Oh, comes from 38%, which is still pretty substantial, but they don't really discuss what the increase was with the advent of data centers coming in, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then Imperial Valley, do you know, what city is that close to? Do you have any idea where they're looking at?
No, it was pretty vague. It just kept, Imperial Valley was as close as I could understand it was.
I think I remember hearing about it because I follow an account on Instagram. There's a gentleman that put an account together, and he's against it, and so he's just wanting that more and more people to kind of sign on. And I understood from him that it's like kind of sort of near the Salton Sea, but like kind of abutting the Riverside County border. You know how we're like really right there next to Imperial County, and so that's what that gentleman was saying, is that they're like right there, and whatever right there is, but I just understood that it's very close to the Riverside County border.
It is, you're correct, it's right on the county border. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, since you mentioned earlier that this body can make policy recommendations to the council or the planning commission, I was wondering if anyone here would like to further synthesize that, because I think that we should protect ourselves if we can, we shouldn't exploit our natural resources or our city in this manner, because I did read, I myself had read up on some stuff earlier, like months ago. And you know what, those diesel generators are like really loud, and like, I mean, you can smell that stuff like miles away. And, and I also think that if something catches on fire, it's not going to be so simple to put it out. You almost need like its own fire station. So I think there's a lot of like concerns that we should look at and maybe just work through that and see if we can come up with some recommendations to see if the council would ever consider establishing an ordinance like they did, I guess, I think you said Virginia or Northern Virginia, or where did they do that? Because I think you said that there was one.
Yeah, so there's one in Georgia. There are a few others as well. I can't remember. There's a handful of cities that
I
have
think we
done
should look
these.
at that. I mean, I don't know if what do you guys think? Like, because I feel like we should protect ourselves, like, and I understand why here, because that's the other thing. These data centers don't have to be in our backyard. They don't. They can be anywhere. So why here? We already have enough heat. I feel like we're already dealing with that. So maybe we could look at policy recommendations, or, look at what those other cities did, and perhaps just look at that, I don't know.
I think that might be good also to share this presentation with the Planning Commission if you have at some future point, and also the City Council, just to kind of give them some insight as to what we're looking at and keep them updated on what we're looking at, and if they have suggestions, recommendations. But I think we all need to get on top of this as soon as possible, because it's coming. And you mentioned that your city already has a presentation or a proposal?
Yes, my city is currently just kind of, it's just exploratory right now, but it looks like they're very serious and they want to come, and people didn't say no. People were like, okay, and I thought, wow. But, I mean, I'm not the policymaker there, but I wish people would have been given this presentation, or, just additional information to consider before just saying yes, or, so we're kind of sort of going through that lengthy process right now. But I think if Indio doesn't have such a proposal right now, I think maybe it is the perfect time to create an ordinance that protects the city.
Commissioner Chris?
I want to be careful not to give too much to Sarah. It's really not Sarah's responsibility to take it to the planning commission or take it to the council. We're here for a particular council member. It's our responsibility to take it to that council member. So if you could send us this proposal, I think we should all, since we're all on the same page on this, which is great, we should all send it to the council and say, hey, this is something we're looking at. This is my feelings on it.
Commissioner Verdugo?
Be built like within a county or within a city?
No, not as long as the city or the county approves it. No, there's no, unless they do that themselves and make a cap it, then no. It's just a one by one, and if they get approved, they get approved.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my thought in this is just, I guess watching time here, is, yeah, it's something that we definitely should weigh in on. However, I think my thought on it is probably a little bit more nuanced, in that you have a process here already called CEQA. And the problem with these AI data centers is that they have been largely trying to, whether it's CEQA in California or NEPA otherwise, my understanding, I could be wrong, is, well, I don't think I am, there's just not that transparency around the permitting of these data centers. So for example, when they're going in, they don't say this is Google, it's some third-party company. And I guess the company per se doesn't really matter whether it's Google or some entity that's just building a data center who's then gonna lease that data center to Google or Intel or Amazon or whomever. It's the impact. There's just for example, when IID did its workshop, their workshop, they weren't at liberty to say who, what, where, and when. And the way that people have been finding out about these data centers are they're looking for a large number of turbines to be permitted. And that's how they're able to find the data center. So they're having to go through this back door. Residents and community members are having to go through this sort of shadow process. And that's my main problem with it. I'm not as worried about the energy as I am about the water, because, with energy, okay, you can build solar, you can build gas, you can co-locate it with that's a lot, pulp and paper and all those heavy industries have developed with cogeneration facilities, that's what they call it, where you have your power generation on site. You can't do that with water. Water is finite. Once it's done, it's done. Once you've sucked up all the water, it was like what the folks in Central California experienced with the farming. Once they had sucked up all the water, then okay, you no more have a crisis to grow my almonds now. So that's the problem that I think the water is, and no one else has water. So that's the problem. And I saw one of those pictures and they really said, oh, this is water coming by in the canal. Like, oh, we have water. Who's a we? So though I just want transparency. I'm not willing to say heck yeah and no or whatever. If there is a process for planning, for zoning, for putting whatever the element is on your plan, as you said, there's a process, and if there's transparency, the building department, the planning department has that ability to place these, to decide we'll have 3 or we'll have 2 or we'll have none. But if you don't have transparency, how can you plan anything? So that is what, I would not be necessarily in favor of making a decision ahead of time. It's like, stating an answer before I really know the facts. For example, you said there's some cleaner technologies, there's certain things that they could do with water. I really don't know what it is, how they're gonna desalinate the salt and seed for water. I'm not sure where they're gonna get the water from. So without knowing that information, it's really hard to say yay or nay. So what we need is transparency. And I think just being cautious of the facts and if we have some time, we can go back and at least I can go back and take a look at, because I thought at one time there was an executive order that allowed the fast tracking of the data centers, but maybe I'm wrong there. So maybe a little bit of time to do some research there and confirm our facts. So I heard sharing this so basically rounding off the information that we have, sharing our notes with the Planning Commission, and I think Commissioner Jimenez, you were thinking that we would make a policy recommendation. Is that what your request would be?
Yes, I think, I think that would be a good idea, after just conducting some research, and again, I don't mean to be putting anything on Sarah, because I know it's a lot, but maybe, we can gather our thoughts and send them via email or something, I don't know, to help. But I do think a policy recommendation would be good, and it's just a recommendation. People don't have to take it. But I think it would be a really good idea to try to get ahead of it or see, or even just look at what Georgia did, like what did they do? And how did they do that? Because we want to be reasonable, but at the same time, these data centers can exist everywhere, anywhere. So why here? Like I feel like we have enough going on here that I don't know that it's a good idea. I'd like to save the space that we do have for other uses.
So, and the other thing too, is we have so much open land. Indio is, has a boundary, and things can come in beside us right on the Riverside County on unincorporated areas, and it still impacts us. So that's the other thing too. Some of this could be going through Riverside County and not necessarily the city of Indio or Coachella. In terms of next steps on this, I see Commissioner Getka has data center on his list. So would you want us to the rest of the commission to flow information to Commissioner Getka or to you, Sarah? What would your recommendation be?
I think it would be easier if it came through,
To you?
yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So you would say within the next month or two for us to send any additional comments to you?
Yes,
Comments,
please.
questions, or information. So we're at March, so by the end of April, so we kind of put some bound on this because these things can go on forever if you're not careful. So by the end of April, if folks could send their information to Sarah and Ellen. Sounds like an interesting project for her. Okay, wonderful. So with that, thank you so very much, very helpful.
Could I add something too? I think Commissioner Chris had a great point in let's reach out to each of our own council members. And if Sarah can maybe provide this presentation to them just by email, however, whatever format you'd like, and we can follow up. Because I think it's important too for our city council to begin to get more aware of this if they're not already, and also to reach out to our local political leaders in the valley here. We have state assemblymen here, we have senators, state senators. I think that everybody kind of needs to be somewhat in the loop because we don't want to have some things coming down through other connections that might influence any decision-making in our community. So it's just something I think would be good to kind of get everybody in a loop on this topic going forward. As far as policy recommendations, in my own personal beliefs, I think it would be up to city council to decide on what policies they want to carry forth based on the information that they're going to get and receive and then learn about. And maybe have, anything like this would require public hearings at some point anyway, within the city or county or whatever. So I think that would be, something to keep in mind. It's not going to be, somebody can't just come in here and just automatically get their permits approved and start building or developing a program. It has to go through public hearings. If it's within the city limits of Indio, it has to do that. Regarding the county, I don't know if the county supervisors are involved with something like that on a county level, but we just need to have everybody kind of made aware of this and kept abreast of what's happening. I'd love to hear what's happening in your city, Coachella, as things progress, what's happening, and keep us informed on that at the next future meetings would be great.
Yeah, I'll gladly bring that back. It was fascinating the way they packaged the whole item. It was like packaged as a Coachella data center or Coachella technology center or something like that. So it included like a microgrid, this data center / solar, who knows what. Anyway, I'll have to bring that back and maybe I'll share it with Sarah via email and then she can distribute to everyone just so people know what happened over there.
Okay, thanks so very much. We'll move on to 6.2, which is Regional Comprehensive Climate Action Plan. Is there an update on that, please?
Yes. This was, it was adopted by CVAG in November, and the commission has asked that we bring back updates on it every 2 or 3 months or so. So this is our first update. I was going to go through all of these. The climate action plan is broken down into sections, energy and solid waste, all the things on the screen. And then look at them as far as, you know, what's on our work plan, what did the city of Indio in that comprehensive climate action plan actually say that we would look at and do. And under energy, there were 12 actions. And because we're doing green building, because that's kind of open on our work plan, basically when I went through the process of looking at what could drop out, nothing dropped out. So the only thing we're going to talk about tonight is energy. For the rest of the topics up there, it works. It cuts it down to a manageable amount of information, but it's just because of the green building that the energy did not. So these are the list of energy things, actions that are in the CCAP and associated greenhouse gas reductions with each one. So we did talk about this wasn't necessarily something that the city could take action on a lot of things, but that we really needed to support our partners, especially with outreach on a lot of what was going on. So for one thing, you know, we did have IID come out last year and talk about some of the programs that they do, and they do quite a few things on that list. They do energy efficiency in your home, you can qualify for that, smart thermostats, all of those things. And I did reach out to Darren Marquez. He's the gentleman who came here and gave the presentation. And I asked him if he had any specific data, which they do have, and they may be able to give us even Indio-specific data. So that's what I'm hoping. They can give us some information on Indio-specific data so that we can actually get some metrics on some of these programs, which was another thing that the commission had asked us to bring back. So we are working on that. We are working on the website. Once we have the website together, we'll be able to outreach this more. Again, we have the speakers come here and talk about it at the commission meeting. And then, you know, there's a few other things on here that I wanted to bring up. SoCal Ren has come up with a program, and it's available to schools here in Indio. And basically, if you're in the third or fourth grade students, if you're a teacher, then SoCal Ren will give you a packet for teaching the academics of energy and water conservation. They don't have to use it. They can use their own planning or own, you know, whatever the teachers have together that they want to use instead of what SoCal Ren offers them. They could do either one. And then the students each get a kit that has the different light bulbs in it, LED light bulbs, water saving mechanisms for your faucet, some outreach, things to take home. And as long as they take that home, they don't have to put everything in the kit in their house, but they're given a card that says they did a few things, 1 or 2 things from the kit, and as long as the school gets back 65% of those cards, then that teacher and that classroom will get a $1,000 grant. So it's a really good program. And we talked to some of the folks at SoCal IREN. We know that there are schools here in Indio that do qualify for the program. So we emailed all of those. We did all of the outreach, and we're hoping that they'll take advantage of that. That's for the LED light bulbs and fixtures for that program. And then AQMD, of course, has all of their programs. They have an exchange for lawn equipment that's gasoline, that can go electric. I believe the Go Zero program is paused right now, but that was a way of electrifying homes where if you put in a heat pump, then you would get certain incentives back. So again, as we get the website rolled out, we'll get these put out there more for the outreach. that will bring us a little farther. Where we're really going to struggle, I think, is with the solar in this atmosphere in this time, but we are working a lot with the Green Building Council, with their Green Policy Accelerator and Lead for Cities, and the more we learn about that, I think that we'll be able to bring back some ideas that will help reduce energy or forward energy conservation and try to make up for some of those greenhouse gases we might lack in solar. And then last, you remember EcoHero, we sent them into the schools. We send them there all the time, but mostly for solid waste. But IREN just hired them to do some energy outreach as well. And since they do all their own music and all their own songs and it's all customized, they can really go to a school and talk, do anything. But he's obviously EcoHero, so that's what he's focused on. So there is, they are actually scheduled to do their energy show in a couple schools in Indio as well.
They're a company, just a quick question. More detail at the end.
Oh, that's it. That's all. I just wanted to give you some information on the CCAP and what's going on with that. We're mostly outreach, but there are a lot of programs being run. And as we get the website up and other things, we're really going to be able to hopefully capture some of those greenhouse gases for some of those things that were listed under energy in the CCAP.
Commissioner Verduga, thanks, Sarah. Commissioner Verduga, any comments on the climate plan?
No comments.
All righty. Commissioner Jimenez, anything else?
I just want to thank you for the wonderful update, and you know what, I love that EcoHero show. That sounds fantastic. I'll let us know when he comes back into town or brings a road show to the city of Indio. I'd like to be there and bring my children so they can watch. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think we got, last time you gave us a little CD or something from that EcoHero thing. Was it a CD?
Yeah, it might have been. They do coloring books. They
Yeah,
do
it
all
was pretty
kinds of
cool.
information. And yes, their songs, their rap songs are
Yeah.
available as well.
Yeah. Commissioner Chris?
No comment.
All righty. Commissioner Getka, anything?
I just want to thank Sarah again for putting together a nice presentation and keeping us updated and informed. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. So that, with that, thanks, Sarah. We'll move on to, I think we're doing good on time. We'll move on to the commissioner reports, and I'll go last. I'll let Vice Chair Jimenez start us off on grant funding. And is that the same as the 9.1 grants calendar? Or is, or no?
I'm not sure, but I can definitely speak to the grant funding.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so thank you, Chair Lou. Thank you, everybody. I just wanted to let you guys know that the AHSC application is open, and that's a very good grant funding opportunity with the Strategic Growth Council. Applications are due May 4th, and I think the City of Indio needs additional affordable housing, but also there's tremendous opportunities there to embed other incredible things with the projects, because you can actually build single-family housing for home ownership. And I think that our community, I'm seeing more and more that our community needs like a smaller footprint, like home, like a townhome, like a little duplex, a condo, something that will give people a home ownership option to own an asset, but it's still affordable, like affordable. It's not going to break their bank, and also TCC, I'm sorry.
Can you repeat the
Yes,
name
it's
of
the
that one?
Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities, or the acronym is AHSC.
AHSC.
Yes,
Okay, thank
Affordable
you.
Housing Sustainable Communities Grant Program. And they make available up to $20 million, so it's a very generous amount. And the other one that's coming up that I wanted to not lose sight of is the Transformative Climate Communities Grant Program, TCC. I really think that that's where we can really gain, make some gains with, either appliance electrification or the rooftop solar programs, or even commercial solar, rooftop opportunities that can be offered here to the people of Indio. And And I think you can do so many things, composting, all sorts of things that you can, that fit this commission and the work that Sarah does. And I did speak with Assistant City Manager Jonathan Nix, and I told him that I was going to email you, Sarah, that I'm willing to help with that big lift and provide technical assistance and, do all those good things to really help the city submit an application for either AHSC or TCC. The CRC one is coming up as well. That's the Community
What's
Resilience
the
Center.
due date for the TCC?
Oh, for TCC, they're barely going to release the application. They're going to open it up like late spring, early summer, and then they hope to make awards by January of 2027. So we'll know, right away. And the CRC is also another really good one that the Strategic Growth Council is offering, and we will have one in Coachella. And I think that anything we can do to really build up community resilience is a good thing. And I can provide more information about that as well so that you guys can see what these grants are all about. And that is also going to be released probably summer, and with an award. They usually try to award almost at the same time, so probably like January of next year, we will know. And you can request up to $10 million if you're doing an implementation grant, but you also have the chance to submit for a planning grant so that you can get probably even more dollars if you, set yourself up so that you can acquire or, do the plans and designs and all that, and then use your other money for all the amenities that you want to embed into your CRC, because you can actually even request a microgrid at the CRC. So lots of good things that are associated with sustainability with these grant programs, and I just wanted to mention them here, and I will do my part in sending over information. I keep saying that, and I apologize, but I will send the information to Sarah so she can share it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Chris?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This past couple weeks, I've had the opportunity, and I've done it before, I just never spoke about it before, to deliver food boxes to Lupine Mobile Home Park at Elms Mobile Home Park here in Indio. I don't know if you're familiar with those parks, to my colleagues, but they are two very, very impoverished mobile home parks here in Indio. And I actually work with them on three different organizations, with my church, with Indio Sunrise Rotary, and with Desert Elite Business Networking Group. And we do everything from deliver food boxes to do painting for them through Rotary, and then do repairs to the mobile homes through Desert Elite. And it is just such a privilege, and we get so much out of bringing them food boxes and seeing these people just wait outside for us and hearing their stories. I can't even imagine, you want to talk about sustainability, I can't even imagine living in a metal box with little or no air conditioning and finding ways to try to keep cool and stay alive. So I want to encourage my fellow commissioners, if they want to join in that. We do it once a month, and I would love to have you.
Righty. So when it would be the best time to contact you, if anyone's interested?
Sunday through Saturday is the best time to contact me.
Okay, all righty.
Any day.
I was like, what? He caught me there. I was like, huh?
All right,
We do it the last Saturday of every month. We meet at 9 o'clock on Madison at, gosh, I can't remember the address, but you could call me.
Fourth or
sorry?
Avenue 48?
It's Madison, just south of Indio Boulevard, is where we meet. And then we go to Elms first, which is right on Indio Boulevard, then Lupine. But we meet at 9 o'clock, and literally, we have enough volunteers where it literally takes us 1 hour. It's 1 hour of time to bless people and just put a smile on their face.
all righty. Thank you so very much. Commissioner Getka.
Okay, Sarah has some a slide presentation up on the screen. We had the privilege, thanks to Sarah and Ellen, to visit Sunnylands and learn more about their LEED certified buildings. So this presentation was based on our tour, their website, and then also an article by Brett Burke and the architect Lance O'Donnell of O2 Architecture of Palm Springs. Next slide. So if everybody doesn't know where it's at, it's located on 37977 Bob Hope Drive in Rancho Mirage. I was just curious, how many commissioners have been there before at Sunnylands?
Oh,
Everybody?
not before.
I have, yeah.
Okay, 3. That was my first time, because I'm fairly new.
I've
in
been
that.
there, but not before it was, I mean, I wasn't there before it was Sunnylands.
Okay. Anyway, I was just curious. It's a marvelous place. I'm going to take my wife there probably in the fall when the weather cools down. Lots to see and do there. It's a very historic facility. It goes back to the 1966 when Sunnylands first opened themselves to visitors. Anyway, so that's the location, and they will be open for tours, not of this, what we did, but the general public tours. They'll be open till the end, of early June. That's what I understand. Next. So amazingly, the Annenbergs, Walter Annenberg and his wife, have been a long-time proponents of sustainability. And they have a green vision. When they built their property and expanded and became a nonprofit foundation, but they looked at innovative solutions, creative solutions, and implementing sustainable practices to meet the environment for future generations. Next slide. So one of the big things, obviously being in the desert, was they wanted to learn and improve their conserving precious water resources. So at the direction of their board of trustees, they took several steps to reduce water demand at Sunnylands. And over time, the historic estate underwent an irrigation system overhaul and a large-scale reduction of turf on their golf course and around the surrounding areas. The center and gardens at Sunnylands Employee Campus were each designed to prioritize water-wise practices, including the planting of desert and air-adapted plants. If you look at the first lower left picture, that's they made significant water conservation efforts since 2008. They built a water conservation center and gardens, and they used a lot of the native plants and made a beautiful garden area out of it that minimizes water use. And then later on, they built the administration campus, which is what we actually toured, which is not open to the public. This was a private tour arranged, and just for our group there. I wish everybody had a chance to go through it and see it, but we were privileged to take a tour of an area that nobody else really sees from the general public. And the building that they built was the second LEED certification building on the campus there. Next slide. So LEED certification, what is LEED? LEED was established by the U.S. Green Building Council, and it's an acronym for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And there's different ratings. The first one that they built was Sunnylands Center and Gardens, and that was awarded the LEED Gold certification in 2011. The building that we had toured, the Sunnylands Administrative Campus, received the highest LEED award, which is LEED Platinum, in 2020. Next slide. So this campus, the campus was the second new construction project at Sunnylands, and to achieve LEED certification. It started in 2017 with landscaping. They also utilized low-flow plumbing installed throughout the building and the surrounding area of the outer buildings. And then they became the second certified building there on September 23rd, 2021. Next. So on the right, these are the two gentlemen that took us through the complex. The gentleman on the left is an admin staff manager, and then the person on the right is architect Lance O'Donnell. He is the gentleman that designed the facility, taking in environmental features, the weather, climate, all the appropriate variables that comes with building a project in the desert. Next slide. So as far as design, you can see that the building, what they did was instead of having windows along the west-facing part of the building to see the San Jacinto Mountains. That's beautiful, but it brings in a lot of heat in the summer months. So he kind of reversed the building footprint so that the main portion of the windows is facing the northern exposure. The most sun-exposed surfaces like the east side and the west side, he had it lateral and with less windows and less potential sun invasion. And so basically this was built on a $20 million budget, and it was built and designed on a 17-acre portion of the 220-acre estate. Next slide. So here we have our guests there, Ellen and Sarah, that joined me, and they were intently listening to Mr. Lance O'Donnell as he was explaining the building structure, the components. Most of the building, the outer structure, is made out of concrete block and has the one side is a chiseled type concrete, which makes it look more, has more texture to it instead of just a plain cement type block material. And again, this building has received the highest LEED certification. And this picture you're looking at is the main lobby entering into the administration building. Next slide. So the main thing I wanted to point out is when he was taking us through the building was that they have a huge natural air flushing system on top of the building. And what that means is that in the evening, in the summer months, they have the temperature set at 75 degrees, where if it goes above that, there's a huge fan that turns on and will pull in the outside air for cooling. It also goes through a filtration process to take out any of the sand and the particles that can come in. But the structures in the new campus were basically steel, glass, split-face, chiseled concrete block. And you can see a few pictures there. That first picture there in the middle is the northern exposure with all the glass windows facing the north. As again, he didn't want the bright sun coming in on the west side in the middle of the summer months. Next. And then this is one of the final buildings that we looked at. This was the operations building. And this is where the ground crew works out. This is actually a picture of one of their conference rooms. They have a large building that they house all their equipment, tractor equipment, repair equipment, mechanical equipment. But again, this was all built, again, with sustainability in mind. Next slide. So I just want to make sure we have the credits for Mr. Brett Burke's article. It was published January 25th, 2021 in the Palm Springs Life. And then we want to credit the sunnylands.org website. And then also a large thanks to the architect Lance O'Donnell, and he's with the O2 architectural firm of Palm Springs. This gentleman's a very bright, forward-thinking person. He was really entertaining to listen to. He gave us a great tour, very accommodating, answered all our questions, and hopefully someday you all can maybe go through that if we ever get an invitation to come back.
If I could add, he's also a homegrown Indio resident, and he graduated from Indio High School.
Okay, thanks so very much, Commissioner Getka. We have about 5 minutes before 7 o'clock, and we have 2 agenda items left. Before we cover those agenda items, I just wanted to say on the sustainable building one, last month, when we voted to form working groups. So Commissioner Chris and I have sustainable buildings. So I did reach out, you might not have seen it, Commissioner Chris, so that we could bring back something, pull all this information that we're hearing from everyone on sustainable buildings and bring that back to the full commission. We have to limit it to 2 people for the Brown, is it Brown Act or whatever, something like that. So, this is already public, so I'm not gonna, we can look at this with 2 seconds. This is my tour of Cal Earth, and you can just flip to maybe 1 or 2 of the buildings. I can bring this back when you can we don't have time. So when we bring it back to the full commission, I can take the time to go through this and put it as an agenda item. So I just procedurally, if, do you have the information from that Commissioner Getka has, similar that he just showed on the slide? Were you part of that tour? The Sunny Lands tour?
I was not able to make it.
Okay, so then, since you've shown that, Commissioner Getka, if you could share that information with me, I'll incorporate it in mine, follow up with Commissioner Chris, and then we'll bring something back to the full commission. Does that make any sense?
You want me to go ahead and share Commissioner Getka's presentation?
Correct.
With the
correct.
commissioners, yes.
So that I can pull it into what we bring back to the full commission. And we've had lots of information since last year, so I'll have to go back to the old, Commissioner Chris and I can go back to the old information and we'll pass it back and forth and then bring something back along with, final PowerPoint. So thanks very much for sharing that. So we only have about 3 minutes left. Oh, Commissioner Verdugo, sorry, thanks.
No, that's okay. I don't have anything to
I'm sorry.
report. I did, in looking for stuff on microgrids, I came across something regarding the Sobobo Casino Energy Project for 2026. Found that interesting. I went ahead and made copies for each one of you. It's just some information that I found interesting and wanted to share.
All right, so this is an energy project from a casino. Okay, cool. A combined heat and power. Okay, great. Thank you so very much. Sorry,
You're welcome.
apologies.
No,
Thanks
that's
for
okay.
reminding me. Once I see the clock going, I'm like, we're rushing. We've got 3 minutes and
Can I make
3
one
agenda
announcement real quick?
items.
Chairperson?
Please be.
Yeah, so as a reminder, March 28th, this Saturday, we're having the hazardous waste collection event here at the corporate yards in Indio. So you can bring your old batteries, your car oils, or whatever, and they'll take care of it over here at the corporate yard.
All righty.
It's a great event.
Thank you. Sarah, back to you, staff items.
There are no staff items. Thank you.
All righty. Grants calendar 9.1.
We covered that during the commissioner reports, so there's nothing more on that.
Okay, thanks. All right, okay, I thought there was lots. What is this that is that this? What do we have on the screen now at this time, please?
Yes, this is some information on the grants calendar. I apologize. The only thing different about this is that the grants that are in orange and have numbers are grants that we already have. So it doesn't necessarily add to anything. It's just an informational that we do have some grants that we are working on, and they're listed there in orange.
All righty, so you're going to add the ones that the Vice Chair Jimenez mentioned today. Okay. All righty, thanks so very much. Okay, so with that brings us to agenda item number 10. So is there a motion and a second to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty.
Aye.
So with that, we close the meeting, and our next meeting will be April the 27th at 5:30 p.m., same place, right here. So thanks, everyone, for attending and participating.